Hi, this is Lisa Somerville for Divinity Designs. Today we're excited to let you know that the products that were exclusive to the October 2021 Blessings Box subscription kit can now be purchased separately. First, I'll be sharing with you these products, then I'll share with you a closer look at some of the projects that I've created using these products. Then I'll be sharing with you some tips and finally some inspiration from our design team. Now let's take a look at these products that can now be purchased separately. The stamp sets, Star of Wonder. This is a set of 4. Christmas Season, a set of 5. And now we'll take a look at the die sets. Starry Night Background. This die set measures 5 1/4 by 4 and is designed to be used with our A2 portrait and A2 landscape card base with layer die sets. And here you can see it on a completed card along with additional Divinity Designs products. For this card, I've created a shaker card. We also have 3 ornament sets: Vintage Ornament Shaker 1, Vintage Ornament Shaker 2, and Vintage Ornament Shaker 3. The Vintage Ornament Shaker 1 is a set of 4 dies. Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 2, a set of 6. And Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 3, a set of 5. Each of these die sets contain decorative ornaments, pierced ornaments, and then a layering panel. When using our dies, be sure to die cut and emboss following the directions for your die cutting machine. Embossing the dies will bring out the detail of the dies. Embossing your dies will also help define the piercing. Here's a closer look at some of the ornaments that I've created using these die sets. And here you can see the dies from the Vintage Ornament Shaker 2 die set on a finished card. Here's one of the ornaments from the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 1 on a finished card, along with the Starry Night background as a shaker card and additional Divinity Designs products. Here's another shaker card using the ornament from the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 1, the Starry Night background, and additional Divinity Designs products. And finally, a mini slimline card using the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 3, along with additional Divinity Designs products. The Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 1 is a set of 4 dies. And you can see on the ornament topper, I did mark a number 1 because all 3 of these sets do contain ornament toppers. That way, when I'm die cutting, I could easily tell which topper belongs to which die set. When assembled, this die measures 2 3/4 by 1 3/8. You'll die cut and emboss these dies following the directions for your die cutting machine. When using the solid die from this die set, be sure to emboss the die to bring out the detail of the dies. Anytime you see 2 shades of purple on the packaging or the web images, that does indicate that you should emboss your dies for best results. And here you can see some of the samples that I've created using the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 1. Here we have just the solid die cut and embossed from our Shine Bright paper pad collection. On this next sample, I've used the solid die along with a decorative die, and I've inlaid some of the pieces back into the die cut. Next, I've created a shaker ornament using the solid die, the pierced die, and the ornament topper. And on my next sample, I've used the solid die, the decorative die, and the ornament topper to create another shaker ornament. Next, we have the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 2. This is a set of 6 dies. Again, on the ornament topper, you can see that I wrote in Sharpie a number 2 so that I know this coordinates with the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 2. In this die set, you have the solid ornament, the pierced ornament, the ornament hanger, and pieces to create a decorative ornament. On the decorative ornament, be sure that you die cut and emboss following the directions for your die cutting machine. Embossing will bring out the details of the die. On this center decorative die that you see here, when die cut, gives you 2 decorative panels. So that way you can die cut them from 2 different pieces of cardstock or pattern paper for a decorative look on your ornaments. Here you can see a shaker ornament that I created using the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 2, using the solid die, the pierced die, and the inside panel from the decorative die. Here's another shaker ornament that I created from this die set using the solid die, the decorative die, and the ornament hanger. The last ornament set in this series is the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 3. This is a set of 5 dies. Again, you'll notice that I used a Sharpie to write a number 3 on the back of the ornament topper. This die set includes the solid ornament, the decorative ornament, the ornament topper, the pierced ornaments, and an oval that you can use as a decoration. When die cutting the oval in this die set, you'll notice that you'll get 2 oval die cuts. The oval like you see here, and then a solid oval. You can place that solid oval behind the decorative ornaments, and you can place the oval frame around the decorative ornament like you see here. To create this shaker ornament, I use the following dies: the solid ornament, the decorative ornament, the oval, and the ornament topper. To create this shaker ornament, I use the solid ornament and the pierced ornament. And here you can see the back side on my ornament die cut pieces. On this one, I have the embossed panel face up, so that way if someone flips it over, it's nice and finished on the back side. Again, anytime you see 2 shades of purple on the packaging or the web images, that does indicate that you should emboss your dies for best results. You can use the Vintage Ornament Shaker die sets on many of our folded card dies. Some of our basic folded card dies are the A2 Landscape Card Base with Layer die set. This will die cut and score your cardstock to create an A2 size card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. The layer die is 4 by 5 1/4. The A2 Portrait Card Base with Layer die set, a set of 2 dies. This die will cut and score your cardstock to create an A2 size card base, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5.5. The layer is 4 by 5 1/4. We also have our square card base with layer die set. The folded card dimensions are 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 and fits into a 5.5 inch square envelope. The Vintage Ornament Shaker dies also look great when used on our mini slimline card base. The folded card dimensions are 3.5 by 6. See our complete line of mini slimline dies on our website. And we also have the slimline card base. The folded card dimensions are 3 7/8 by 9, and this fits into a number 10 business envelope. In addition to these basic card die sets, the Vintage Ornament Shaker dies would look great as embellishments on some of our fun folded die sets. You can see the complete line of our folded card dies on our website. Now let me show you just how easy it is to create embellishments using our Vintage Ornament Shaker sets 1, 2, and 3. For my die cuts, I'm going to be using the metallic paper pad. The metallic paper pad is 6 by 9 and contains 5 each of the following colors: gold leaf, copper, and galvanized. The metallic paper pad coordinates with the sequins. We have copper, gold, and silver. The sequins and metallic paper pad also coordinate with our Christmas Collection 2015 6 by 6 paper pad and our Shine Bright 6 by 9 paper pad. Let me share with you a closer look at the papers found in the Christmas Collection 2015. The 6 by 6 paper pad collection features 24 papers, 3 sheets of each design. And now the papers in our Shine Bright 6 by 9 paper pad collection. There's 24 designer papers, 4 sheets of each design, plus 8 solid color sheets, 4 sheets of each color. For the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 1, I'm going to show you how to create this shaker ornament. You can see that I've already die cut and embossed the pieces that I'm going to use to create this shaker ornament. I die cut and embossed the solid die from the Shine Bright paper pad collection. I die cut the solid die from a piece of acetate. And I die cut the pierced die and ornament topper from the galvanized metallic cardstock. I'm going to be using the silver sequins as my shaker elements. To make the assembling of the ornament easier, I did apply an adhesive sheet to the back of my metallic cardstock prior to die cutting. Now, if you don't have an adhesive sheet, you can use Bearly Art Glue or your favorite adhesive. I'm going to remove the backing from the adhesive sheet that's attached to the pierced ornament die cut. Then I'm simply going to align that to my acetate die cut panel. Now that the acetate has been adhered to the back side of the pierced ornament die cut, we're going to turn that over. Then we're going to apply foam tape around the edge of the die cut on top of the acetate. Continue adding the foam tape around the die cut ornament frame. Be sure that the edges of the foam tape are butted up against each other so that your shaker elements won't fall out. Then remove the backing from the foam tape and add your shaker elements to the inside. Then you can seal the shaker elements within the die cut panel using the solid die cut ornament die. If desired, you can adhere the ornament topper to the top of the die cut. Now you can add some cording and use these as embellishments on your cards, scrapbook pages, or home decor projects. To create this shaker ornament using the dies from the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 1 die set, I simply die cut 5 of the decorative dies from cardstock and stacked them on top of each other. That way I have some thickness within the die cuts to allow for movement of the shaker elements. Again, before die cutting these dies, I did add adhesive paper to the metallic cardstock to make assembling the die cuts quicker. And on this decorative ornament, I used the solid ornament die, the decorative ornament die, which was die cut from both the copper and the galvanized metallic cardstock. On the solid ornament, I just die cut and embossed from a piece of pattern paper. Again, prior to die cutting, I did apply an adhesive sheet to my cardstock, so that way I could easily put these pieces back into place. And there's a look at just a few of the ornament embellishments that you can create using the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 1 die set. Now let's take a look at the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 2 die set. First, we're going to create a simple shaker ornament using the solid die and the pierced die from this die set. Here you can see that I die cut and embossed the solid die from the Shine Bright paper pad collection and also a piece of acetate. And the pierced frame was die cut from the gold metallic cardstock. Again, you can see prior to die cutting, I did adhere an adhesive sheet to the back of my metallic cardstock. I'm going to remove the adhesive backing from the die cut panel and then adhere to my acetate die cut. Now I can go ahead and add that foam tape around the edges that's going to hold my shaker elements in place. Again, be sure that foam tape is butted up against each other so that way your shaker elements don't fall out. Remove the backing from the tape and add your shaker elements. I'm going to be adding some of the gold sequins. Then using the solid die from this die set, you're going to adhere that over the foam tape so that your shaker elements don't fall out. Now you can use this as an embellishment on your card, scrapbook pages, or home decor projects. Now let me show you how to use the decorative dies in this die set to create an ornament. Here you can see that I've already die cut and embossed all the pieces that I'm going to need to create the decorative ornament using the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 2 die set. I have the solid ornament die cut and embossed from the Shine Bright paper pad collection. Then I have my die cut and embossed decorative pieces. These were die cut and embossed from both the gold and the galvanized metallic cardstock. Prior to die cutting and embossing, I did add an adhesive sheet to the back of these die cut panels to make assembling quicker, but you can use adhesive after die cutting if you'd like. Again, on this decorative panel, you're going to have two pieces, this frame piece and the inner piece. If you're using adhesive sheets like I am, remove the backing from the die cut panel. If you're not using adhesive sheets, go ahead and add your adhesive to the back side of your die cut. Then adhere these die cut and embossed panels to the solid die cut ornament panel. Continue adding the die cut and embossed pieces until all the decorative panels are in place. Now you can leave the center open like you see here so that the pattern paper shows through, or you can adhere the other decorative panel to the center. And then complete the ornament by adding the ornament topper. Now add cording and use as embellishments on your cards, scrapbook pages, or home decor projects. And last, we have the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 3. You can see that I've already die cut and embossed all the pieces that I'm going to need to create my shaker ornament. I have the solid ornament die cut from the Shine Bright paper pad. I have the pierced frame, the decorative ornament, the ovals, which cuts the small oval and the oval frame, the ornament topper, and the solid ornament cut from acetate. First, we're going to create the pierced frame shaker ornament using the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 3 die set. And we're going to be using the copper sequins. Again, here's my die cut and embossed pieces, the solid ornament from the pattern paper, the acetate, and our pierced frame. Again, just like the other shaker ornaments, prior to die cutting the metallic copper cardstock, I added an adhesive sheet to the back of the cardstock to make assembling a lot quicker. Again, if you don't have adhesive sheets, you can use your favorite adhesive to adhere this die cut panel to the acetate. If using the adhesive sheets, remove the backing from the die cut and adhere to your acetate die cut panel. Now we're going to be working on the back side, and we're going to add foam tape around the frame piece on top of the acetate. When adhering the foam tape, be sure your edges butt up against each other so that the shaker elements don't fall out. Now, if you don't have thin tape to adhere around the frame, you can die cut multiple ornaments and stack them on top of each other to create depth for your shaker elements. Now we're going to remove the backing from the tape and add our sequins. And then we'll adhere the solid die cut to seal in the sequins. Now add some cording and use as an embellishment on your cards, scrapbook pages, or home decor projects. Now let's take a look at the decorative die in the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 3 die set. You can use these dies to create a shaker element like you see here. Again, you'll be using the foam tape and the acetate and adding your shaker elements just like we've done with the other ornament dies. But on this particular die, I'm going to just create a decorative embellishment to use on my cards. Now you can use a die cut piece of pattern paper to place behind the decorative ornament like you see here, or you can use the smaller oval die cut from pattern paper and adhere behind the opening. That's what I'm going to do with this ornament. Next, I'm going to add this to the base die, which is the solid die cut panel that you see here. Then I'm going to add the oval frame and the ornament topper. Again, prior to die cutting, you can adhere an adhesive sheet to the back side so that assembling this is quicker. If you're not using adhesive sheets, apply your favorite adhesive to the back side and adhere in place over the decorative oval in the center of the ornament. Then, if desired, add the ornament topper to the top of the ornament. Add some cording and use as an embellishment on your cards, scrapbook pages, or home decor projects. The next die set that I have to share with you is the Starry Night background die. This die measures 5 1/4 by 4. When you die cut this die, all the pieces will fall from within the die. You can save those die cut pieces to use as embellishments on your cards or scrapbook pages or home decor projects. But today we're just going to be working with the Starry Night background die. Here I've die cut the die using the copper paper from the metallic paper pad. You can see that the layering panel from the A2 landscape card base with layer fits nicely behind this panel. And then you can adhere to the base card. Have the Starry Night background on top of the layer panel from the A2 landscape card base with layer die set. the matting rectangle, and then the base card from the A2 Landscape Card Base die set. If you'd like to make a portrait card, you can use the A2 Portrait Card Base with layer die set, along with the matting rectangle and the Starry Night background die. Now you can use this die cut as a decorative background die on your cards, or you can use it to create a shaker card. You can create a shaker card a number of different ways. You can die cut multiple Starry Night background dies. That's going to create the depth to hold your shaker elements in place. You'll stack them on top of each other, just like you see here. And on the top silver one, I'm going to add a piece of acetate to the back side. Again, prior to die cutting the Starry Night background die, to make assembling easier, I did add an adhesive sheet to the back of the cardstock. Now I can go ahead and remove that adhesive sheet from the back of my die cut panel and adhere to my piece of acetate. Because the acetate is the same size as the Starry Night background, I'm going to adhere these together easily by aligning it using the score buddy. Now I'm going to adhere those extra die cut pieces to the back side of the acetate, making sure that my die cuts align together. And then I'll repeat that with the third die cut piece. Now that you can see by building up the die cut, I'm going to have a thicker edge to be able to add my shaker elements. If you don't have thin enough foam tape to adhere to the border, you can use some of our frame dies, so that way you can use the foam tape that you have. You can use one of the pierced frames, or shown here, I have a 2 thin pierced frame. For this particular card, I'm going to use the A2 thin pierced frame. I've applied adhesive to the back side of the die cut panel. I'm going to remove the backing from the frame, and then I'm going to adhere the Starry Night background in place. You can see that just adds a decorative frame around the Starry Night background. Now I'm going to turn that piece over, and I'm going to add foam tape all the way around the edges, making sure that the foam tape is butted up against each other so that when I add the shaker elements, they don't fall out. Once the foam tape has been adhered to the frame, I can go ahead and remove the backing from the foam tape and add the shaker elements. Again, you don't need to die cut multiple panels of the Starry Night background if you have thin enough foam tape, or you can forego the foam tape altogether by stacking multiple pieces of the die cut together to add dimension. And I added the decorative frame to the front just for a different look. Now we're going to seal in the shaker elements by placing a piece of cardstock on the back that's the same size as the A2 thin pierced frame panel. For this particular card, I'm going to be using a piece of pattern paper from the Shine Bright paper pad. And now you can see that I've created a shaker card using the Starry Night background, along with additional Divinity Designs dies and paper pads. So again, you can use that die just as a background die on your card, or you can use it to create a shaker element for your card base. Next, I'll share with you a closer look at some of the samples by our design team, and then I'll be linking in additional samples at the end of the video. Here's an A2 card using the Starry Night background, the Star of Wonder stamp set, along with additional Divinity Designs products. Another card using the Star of Wonder stamp set, Starry Night background, and additional Divinity Designs products. This card uses the Star of Wonder stamp set, the Starry Night background, and the Vintage Ornament Shaker Set 2, along with additional Divinity Designs products. Another card using the Star of Wonder stamp set, Starry Night background, along with additional Divinity Designs products. Now I have a slimline card using the Christmas season stamp set, Vintage Ornament Shaker 1, 2, and 3, along with additional Divinity Designs products. Another slimline card using the Christmas season stamp set, Vintage Ornament Shaker 1, 2, and 3, along with additional Divinity Designs products. Another slimline card using the Christmas season stamp set, along with the Vintage Ornament Shaker sets 1, 2, and 3. you have any questions about the products used on the cards shown in the video, you can use the Leave a Message button on our website to send us an email. For more inspiration using these and additional Divinity Designs products, visit the product pages on our website, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Pinterest and Instagram.